The heartbeat of the Titanic thrums beneath my feet, a majestic vessel cradled by the sea, but it soon descends into chaos. Sound! Splintering wood erupts like thunder. Screams! The echoes of joy morph into shrieks of panic, swirling in the grand ballroom, now a cacophony of despair. My heart races. I'm on the cusp of something unimaginable, something that dismantles reality. Splash! The cold seawater surges over the polished floor, breathing life into fear. The warmth of the ballroom fades, replaced by an icy touch that brushes against my skin, crawling up my spine. Chaos reigns. Bodies thrash around me, colliding with frantic energy. I'm swept up in a whirlpool of panic, my instinct an animalistic drive for survival, propelling me forward amidst the frenzied crowd, lithe and lost. What is happening? Confusion grips my mind with a vice-like clutch. The chandeliers sway above, their glass droplets shimmering like lost stars in a night swallowed by despair. Dark waters threaten. I catch fleeting glimpses of strangers' faces mirrored in the whirlwind, fear, disbelief, as we collide in a desperate dance of humanity. Another thud reverberates. My world shrinks to fragmented sensations. The moist wood against my palm, a fabric whisper as someone brushes past me, breath hitching in their throat. Everything blurs. I dart through the chaos, seeking an escape, searching for the light I once basked in. But as I plunge deeper into the heart of the storm, icy dread settles in my chest. Each splash of water sends a shiver through my soul. Every scream, a dagger lancing through my heart. The ship trembles. I feel her agony. Splinters of terror burst forth from the walls, and the grand vessel moans her surrender, crumbling beneath the weight of despair. A fleeting sorrow grips me as I recall the laughter we once shared, the promises woven in warm embraces. It's all slipping away. I can't breathe. The air turns thick, heavy with perspiration and a concoction of fear. Voices rise, then ebb. They are a chorus to my demise, resounding like the toll of a distant bell. I press forward, adrenaline coursing through me, urging me to live, yet oblivion looms just beyond my reach. Gasp! A wave crashes over me, the icy grip of the Atlantic wrapping around my legs, pulling me down. Darkness envelops, drowning my thoughts, silencing the screams. The world above fades, the bright ballroom swallowed by a void. The stars I once gazed upon twinkle faintly in my memory, far removed from this chaos. I am lost, caught in a tempest of dreams unraveling before my eyes. But then a hush blankets me, a serene silence punctuated only by the rhythmic thrum of my heart. Time suspends. All the chaos, the noise, the crushing fear, gone. Left in this emptiness, I feel the weight of life itself melt away, dissolving into the abyss. In that vast darkness, all is still. A profound silence envelops me, where even the remnants of existence itself are swallowed. Who am I now? Just an echo in this cold embrace of nothingness, where dreams drift away like whispers in the wind. I float, enveloped in silence, suspended in a realm that feels both foreign and achingly familiar. Beyond the darkness of my thoughts, a flicker of recognition surfaces. I once was someone. I drift back, gently, slowly. I am not merely a lost fragment in this abyss. I am Beatrice Hartman, a name that resonates with whispers of laughter, dreams, and the scent of hope lingering in the air. I was a dreamer draped in satin, gliding through life aboard the Titanic's maiden voyage, cloaked in excitement and a heart full of delicate promises. That day still lingers, a glinting memory etched into the fabric of my being. The salty air brushed against my face when I stepped on board, a new adventure fluttering within me. I wore hope like a favorite perfume, its essence wrapping around me, infusing the ambiance with warmth. How naive I was to believe in the invincibility of our dreams, to bask in the belief that the world was my oyster. On that fateful morning, sunlight poured through the windows, spilling over the deck like liquid gold, tantalizing and pure. I remember standing at the rail, heart swelling as I caught my first glimpse of the horizon. Henry! The very thought of his name ignited a spark within me, sending ripples of love through my soul. He was my anchor in life, an unwavering force amidst storms. Our shared laughter echoed in my mind, a sweet melody that now rests heavy with longing. I can still see him, his soft eyes, buoyant and bright, always filled with a sense of possibility. "We're about to embark on a new adventure, Beatrice," he had whispered, those words threading a fabric of hope around us. In my heart, I believed nothing could sever our dreams, a life together unfurling before us, painted in the colors of tomorrow. I was so consumed in those fleeting moments, clutching onto him with the intensity of my youthful spirit. In the midst of the chaos, I remember those stolen glances. Every touch spoke of futures intertwined. Time seemed a mere illusion, stretching to meet our desires, forging bonds forged in innocence and belief. But the day grew heavier as I replayed each second, reflecting on the subtle omens that brushed past unnoticed. Could I have seen the signs? A passing breeze brushed against my cheeks, a chill that hinted at a tempest to come. Voices around me murmured caution, tales of risks whispered among the passengers, but I dismissed them, caught in a web of dreams already spun. Mirth filled my surroundings as I danced through breakfast, the laughter of strangers mixing with the soft hymn of the string quartet reverberating in my heart. I mused over the silk handkerchief I'd dropped, its delicate fabric slipping from my grasp, a foreboding omen that signaled how easily life could fall apart. Did I truly recognize the weight of destiny resting on my shoulders? I remember the conversation with Henry, longing hidden beneath each word. "Do you think we'll ever see icebergs?" he teased, his laughter a buoyant note in our shared symphony. I rolled my eyes, brushing off his playful worry. What could possibly happen on such a perfect voyage? But a voice inside me whispered of discontent, a hint of unease that crept in like shadows gathering at twilight. Each serene moment etched deeper into my heart, glances exchanged, laughter ringing through the air, but the undertone of dread reverberated through my thoughts as I clutched onto them, unwilling to let go. As we danced together under ornate chandeliers, blissfully oblivious, I couldn't have fathomed the weight of what was lurking beneath the surface, a fate that would pull us apart with a force no one could resist. My heart quickened, fueled by a curiosity that mingled with love, dancing around the promises we had yet to fulfill. I feel time slipping away, laughter mingling with haunting echoes that beckon from beyond. That yearning still flickers in the recesses of my soul, woven together with poignant moments of our love. We danced with dreams as the evening wore on, a beautiful illusion masking the reality that loomed just beyond our grasp. But who could anticipate the way fate would unfold? If I'd only allowed myself to acknowledge that okay could never remain forever. It is merely a fragile phase of existence. Those promises glide through me, bittersweet threads of memory enshrouded in echoes of longing. How fleeting they were. In this ethereal stillness, I mourn for those moments unfulfilled. I reach for them now, but they drift like smoke through my fingers. Love and loss entwined, a bittersweet symphony playing in the backdrop of my eternity. I linger here, between dreams and shadows, caught in the reflection of a past I can never reclaim. The day before it all changed, memories wash over me like waves, tender and bittersweet, lapping at the shores of my recollection. My heart aches as I sift through the remnants of ordinary moments, blissfully unaware of the storm that was about to break. It began with breakfast, the lavish spread gleaming under the warm glow of morning light filtering through the grand windows. The sunlight danced across the polished silverware and chilled crystal goblets, laying a fine sheen upon our extravagance. Laughter flitted around the table, a lively echo harmonizing with the soft hymns of a string quartet. Yet, amidst the jubilant chatter and clinking glasses, there was a whisper of uncertainty winding through my heart. I can still see it, the way Henry leaned closer, his eyes alight with mischief. "What if we see icebergs today, Beatrice?" he teased gently, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. I brushed off the notion with a laugh, my gaze trailing to the horizon glimpsed through the window, bright and endless. "Oh, please, the Titanic is the safest ship in the world. There's nothing to worry about." Innocence veiled my thoughts. How could I have known that beneath the surface of that radiant day, fate was already carving its path? A slight chill brushed against the back of my neck, a fleeting sensation that should have sent shivers down my spine. I shook it away, immersing myself in the laughter and warmth enveloping our breakfast table, savoring the sweet aroma of fresh pastries. Later, as I stood on the deck, watching the gentle sway of the ocean beneath the ship's steady frame, curiosity stirred in my chest. The relentless beauty of the deep blue surrounded us, an enchanting yet deceptive expanse. I clutched my silk handkerchief, a habit ingrained in me, but as it slipped from my grasp and fluttered away, I felt a hint of foreboding, an uninvited anxiety bubbling beneath my skin. Everything felt alive that day, the sun's rays bathing the world in warmth, laughter erupting like fireworks among the guests. Yet as I watched my handkerchief drift and dance in the ocean breeze, a thought speared through me. Was there truly nothing to fear? I turned to Henry, smiling amidst the revelry, his face radiant as he basked in the moment. Our conversations flowed like the wine in our glasses, effortless and intoxicating. I remember discussing dreams, future travels, and plans that lit a spark in our hearts. But even those aspirations felt heavy, weighed down by the shadows quietly encroaching. As the day wore on, the whispers of the ship's speed rang low in the corners of my mind. A subtle unease weaved its way into our laughter, dancing just beyond reach. Glances exchanged with other passengers hinted at their unease, timid caution masked beneath false bravado. Icebergs. Despite the charm of our company, there was an unshakable urgency tucked into every conversation, every storytelling recount that felt like muted tremors growing louder in the background. The evening unfolded like a dream, my spirit soaring amid the flutter of dance and lights. We took to the ballroom, swirling together under the glittering chandeliers that hung overhead, each spin and dip drawing us deeper into our shared reverie. With every beat of the music, I surrendered myself to the sheer joy of the moment. It felt like a sacred promise sealed in laughter, a moment that would echo through time. Yet even then, a faint shadow brushed against my consciousness, an instinctual warning whispering that the currents were beginning to shift. As we danced, I couldn't shake the thought of my handkerchief, the piece of silk that had fluttered clear from my reach. It was as if the day itself was a tapestry unraveling, and I, blissfully ignorant, let it slip away, unknowing of what loomed beneath the surface. The closing notes of the night filled the ballroom, notes of euphoria mingling with the growing chill around us. But for now, those thoughts were merely flickers against the brilliance of hope. If only I'd paid heed to those whispers, the cold breeze, the murmured fears, the shivers that prickled down my spine. They were the echoes of fate drawing near, wrapping themselves around me like a proactive embrace. Dreams danced on the edge of reality, stretching, teetering, balancing precariously between promise and demise. As the time passed and I spiraled into the embrace of evening's warmth, I would soon learn that those fragile moments, filled with laughter and love, would scatter like wisps of smoke in the wind before dawn. What immense significance those last hours held. I knew then, even if just subconsciously, that something profound and grave was approaching, a fate laid out beyond any horizon I could traverse, waiting to engulf us all. The morning light creeping through the curtains awakened me not to the remnants of dreams, but to a sense of impending inevitability. I rose, shaking off the remnants of an uneasy slumber, rustling thoughts echoing the shadows that whispered in my mind. Something felt different. An unsettling energy hung in the air like a storm cloud waiting to unleash its fury. Lying amid the gentle creases of my bed, I grasped for clarity, yet all I could grasp was the soft cotton of my nightgown, a stark contrast to the turmoil that lightly brushed my core. It was then I noticed it, the ordinary object that would haunt and connect my fate forever. Nestled on my bedside table, gleaming innocently, was the silver locket Henry had given me just weeks before. The delicate chain shimmered in the light, and I traced its curves, feeling the tenderness underpinning each intricately twisted link. The locket lay like a trust between us, housing a photograph that held the echoes of our shared moments. A snapshot of me smiling, the sun enveloping my skin like a warm embrace, forever captured in time, unfurling with laughter. As I opened the locket, the crisp edges exhaled a warmth that tethered me to hope. A promise forged in silver, forever binding me to the moments that shaped us. I could almost hear his voice as I brought it closer, his quiet assurance woven into every smile I wore that day. "Keep it close to your heart, Beatrice. No matter where we go, know I'll always be with you," he had said. Every word, each ring of protection shielding me from the chaos beyond. I tucked it safely within my dress, close enough to feel its steady thrum against my heartbeat. But would it be enough to shield against the storm brewing on the horizon? I couldn't shake the feeling that this simple object, meant to represent love and connection, held more than just memories. It bore the weight of secrets not yet unveiled. A subtle urgency nudged me, reminding me that time was slipping away. The ship's journey continued unabated, each passing moment sinking heavy like an anchor in my chest, a grave warning lost amid the blithe gaiety of my fellow travelers. With each tick of the clock, the inevitability of fate loomed like an enigmatic specter, thrumming beneath the delicate fabric of our existence. As I descended the polished staircase, the hum of the day engulfed me, laughter resonating from every corner. Yet, beneath that laughter, I sensed a palpable tension. Hesitant smiles that barely reached the eyes, deep sighs muffled beneath layers of silk and taffeta. The echo of my footsteps against the mahogany flooring harmonized with the distress simmering beneath the surface, tightening my chest. Hastening to find Henry, I pushed through the crowd, each call of merriment a stark contrast to the chill coiling around my heart. The atmosphere felt charged, as if the world held its breath, bracing itself for what was to come. In a corner filled with revelry, I spotted him, his countenance radiant, a beacon of warmth amid the cold whispers zipping around us. "Henry!" I exclaimed, and he turned, his smile effortlessly illuminating my fears, the sunshine breaking through clouds. Yet, in that fleeting moment, a glimmer of something flitted across his expression, an inkling of concern woven beneath his playful demeanor. "Beatrice," he reached for me, and I felt a wave of calm wash over me at his touch. "Did you feel it too? Something feels off today." His brow knitted slightly as searchlight eyes scrutinized the shimmering surface of our shared joy, digging deeper for a truth we could not yet discern. "I thought I was imagining it," I confessed, pushing aside the growing dark cloud looming in my mind. "Perhaps it's just the excitement of embarking on this journey. It's so vast and unknown." "We're safe here," he reassured, wrapping his arm around my shoulder, engulfing me in warmth while whispering sweet nothings against my ear, soft sounds of hope entwined with promises unbroken. But my heart still thumped to the rhythm of trepidation. A subtle storm brewed within, fierce and consuming, urging me to heed the warning hints that tinged the air. Before I could revel longer in his comfort, A sudden announcement rang across the deck, a toll reverberating through the people's laughter like a shattering glass. It hit me like a sharp gust, the urgency of the words, their weight pressing into the core of the revelry. The captain had called a meeting. Something required our attention. "To all passengers," the voice trailed, authoritative yet laced with an unnerving urgency that sent shivers down my spine. "We are moving swiftly through waters with some icebergs reported. Remain calm and stay alert. Do not be drawn to panic." In that instant, the air went electric. Sounds shifted. Shards of glee scattered into a cascade of tension, each laugh now tinged with anxiety. I took a step back, the locket against my chest pulsing like a warning drumbeat. Was this a mere coincidence, an innocuous proclamation, or an omen projected upon a fragile facade? Henry's grip tightened around me, a protective hold against the waves of unease swirling through the crowd. "Let's not worry too much," he whispered, but I could see the glint of unease reflected behind his brave facade. The weight of uncertainty pressed heavily against both our hearts. Despite my fear, I felt the warmth of our connection, a lifeline forged amidst the chaos unfolding around us. Bolstered by that light, I focused on the steady flow of energy within me, a wish echoed between breaths. But even as I stood anchored in his embrace, I could not shake the sensation that something was spiraling toward us, a force greater than ourselves, lurking to unveil its icy grip. I released that breath slowly, allowing the moment to balance precariously on the edge, an unknowing lull before the storm. What would come next would be beyond anything I could possibly envision, yet it would be written upon the fabric of my spirit, a test that fate carefully prepared as it spun its intricate web of dreams and despair, all bound by the love encapsulated within that simple silver locket. The air thickened with silence, an eerie stillness wrapping itself around us as if the ship itself were holding its breath amidst the forecast of impending doom. I clutched the locket tighter against my heart, feeling its cool metal act as both armor and anchor, a familiar weight reminding me of what was at stake: love, dreams, and aspirations woven together in the tapestry of our lives. We lingered on the cusp of calm, tension rippling like electricity through the crowd. Eyes darted nervously among strangers sharing the same fragile fate. Murmurs echoed, a slew of worried whispers filtering through the air, painting pictures of danger yet unseen. Each tremor reverberated like a distant drum, the heartbeat of uncertainty calling forth discontent. Suddenly, a low, profound rumble rolled through the ship, like a monstrous breath expelling from the depths of the ocean. A warning? A foreshadowing? My heart pounded within my chest, and a tremor shot through me, a visceral response to a reality unraveling around us. "What was that?" I whispered, searching Henry's eyes for reassurance, desperate to find solace in our shared hope. But even as he replied, his voice steady but masked with concern, I could see uncertainty flickering beneath the surface of his smile. "Just the engines, dear, nothing more." Yet his brow furrowed, and I could feel the unease radiating off him in waves. As rumblings of uncertainty ricocheted through the gathering crowd, the atmosphere began to shift, escalated by the arrival of the crew. Staff members rushed past us, their faces taut, urgency painted across their brows. The captain's instructions echoed in my mind, amplifying my unease. Remain calm, stay alert. "Maybe we should get to the lifeboats," I uttered reluctantly, my voice trembling with eagerness and fright. Part of me wanted to flee, to escape the impending chaos unfolding aboard the majestic vessel. Henry looked at me for a moment, his expression transformed, shadows threading through our momentary connection. Then he gently shook his head, asserting a kind of resolve I desperately sought. "Let's not panic yet. We're on the Titanic. Nothing can touch us." In a moment of unexpected clarity, I felt something shift within me, a stirring connection weaving between love and fear, mingled with the weight of fate. Would I dare trust this momentarily fragile belief that we were indeed safe just a little longer? Or would panic rise against the muted hopes of our dreams? As if in answer to that question, the ship shuddered violently, a harsh lurch that surged through my body like an electric shock. Screams erupted, shattering the fragile veil we'd cast over our collective dread. What is happening? The world around me seemed to tilt, and just as I reached for Henry's reassuring grip, another violent jolt ensued, sending waves of chaos crashing over our gathered selves. "Stay together! Stay together!" voices cried out, urgency suffusing the air as the reality of the situation began to crystallize into something tangible. Panic erupted within the crowd, fueled by chaos, as people began moving in frantic directions, fear collapsing the barrier between courage and despair. I turned to Henry, searching for a steady beacon amidst the storm. "We have to find a way out." "No," his grip tightened around my arm, panic pushing its way into his voice, yet still mirroring fierce determination. "We need to follow the crew. They'll take us to safety." And still, amid the torrent of uncertainty, I found myself drawn to the warmth radiating from Henry's presence. He pulled me closer, whisking me through the thickening crowd, the swings of silence crescendos into pandemonium, drowning out reason and unraveling dreams, as if fate itself had torn the fabric of our lives apart. We stumbled through the throngs of terrified passengers, desperate to cluster near the exit. I could sense the weight of despair rising behind us, an unrelenting tide breaching the threshold of hope. The metallic tang of fear hung palpably in the air as crew members shouted instructions, trying to instill a semblance of order amidst the escalating dread. "Women and children first!" a commanding voice rang above the fray, echoed by the panic flooding the ship. Suddenly, a realization washed over me, an unbidden conviction tugging at my heartstrings. My vision blurred through the haze of chaos. Instinct gnawed at me. "Henry," I gasped, clutching his arm, urgency coursing through my words, probing against our sanctuary amidst the rising tide. "You must get to a lifeboat. You have to promise me." He turned to me, those soft eyes narrowing, confusion interlacing their depths. "No, Beatrice, I can't leave you. We stay together." "But it may be our only chance." "You can't let fear bind your resolve." My plea fluttered between us, an ember caught in the tempest of confusion. The ground shook beneath us, a jarring reminder of the reality unfolding as the ship's orientation began to slip away. I watched in horror as the chaos surged, pulling us further apart. I could feel it again, that tremor resonating deep in my heart, the locket pressing against my chest, a reminder of what mattered most. "Please, Henry, you have to look after yourself. I will find a way." My voice trembled amidst the raging tide. "Promise me." And with that, he hesitated. An eternity stretched between us, the weight of our love pressing through the flames of uncertainty. Finally, he whispered, "I promise." But even then, I could see the doubt flickering behind his eyes. In the maelstrom of bodies, we were beckoned closer to the lifeboats. My heart raced against the wind, the swell of mounting dread tangled with the depths of my love as we were pulled together again, our hands brushing tightly, hardly willing to let go. But reality was nigh. Every moment held the promise of tragedy, the forward surge of fate awaiting our decision. And as the chaos unfurled and souls rushed past us, I clung to that moment, the warmth of our connection ignited with flames of trust held firmly against the tide. "Go, Beatrice, now!" he shouted, fear rivaling the depth of his emotion, urging me forward into the unknown that lay ahead. Before I could respond or anchor myself against the maddening whirlpool of uncertainty, Henry pulled me close for one last kiss, pouring the warmth of all his love into that moment. It lingered between us, a fragile thread binding our souls across the frightening divide. We parted, not knowing what fate held, but trusting deeply in the love we had forged, as the ship tilted sharply, the roar of despair echoing through the night as the fiery glow of the lifeboats burned brighter on the horizon. I stumbled into the crowd, hope spiraling against despair, feeling the weight of the world as I turned back for one last glance, for that moment could become our forever. But there, amid the chaos, all I could carry was the promise of love pressed against my chest, the silver locket glinting beneath the chaos, a silent witness to the heartache that lay ahead. Whispered vows of devotion spiraled through the gathering storm, resonating louder than despair as I surged closer forward, unsure of the journey yet to come. The world around me transformed into a swirling tempest of despair, faces contorted in panic as cries mingled with the sound of rushing water. I pushed through the throng, searching for the lifeboats glimmering like distressed stars against the dark backdrop of chaos. Each heartbeat resonated in my ears like a drum, propelling me forward, driven by the overwhelming need to find safety, to escape the icy grip of fate that threatened to engulf us all. "Women and children first!" A voice shattered the air, tinged with urgency and fear, yet reverberating with the desire for order in the chaos. My heart thudded painfully in my chest, dreading the weight of separation, as I grasped the locket, pulling it tighter against me, its cool metal reminding me of Henry's warmth. Each jolt of the ship sent waves of panic crashing over the passengers, bodies swaying like reed grasses in a storm. I felt my breath quicken, the press of fear washing over me like an unrelenting tide. "Get in, now!" A crew member shouted, urgency laced with desperation in his voice. My pulse pounded as I forced my way toward the lifeboats, a maddening surge of bodies pressing around me, all striving for the same flicker of hope amid darkness. I glanced back, searching for Henry in the sea of terrified faces, desperate for his reassuring gaze, yearning for his presence. Then I saw him, Henry's figure towering above the crowd, resolute amidst the chaos. My heart soared, even as dread settled in my gut. "Beatrice!" His voice rang out, unyielding, cutting through the turmoil like lightning illuminating the darkest night. But I was caught in the throng of people, desperately trying to reach him, the weight of despair threatening to consume me. "Get in!" he shouted again, urgency spilling from him like a flood. I fought against the swell of bodies, every inch forward a battle against rising panic. But the ground beneath me lurched violently, as if the ship itself were crying out, tilting into the abyss. Just as dread knotted in my throat, I caught the gaze of the crew member gesturing for me to board the lifeboat. "Please, get in!" His voice pierced through my haze of fear, and instinct drove me to cling to hope. Yet one look back at Henry sent a sharp chord of anguish through my heart. "I can't leave you," my voice trembled, the words spilling out like a prayer caught in the wind. "What will happen to you?" His gaze held mine, and in that moment the world around us slipped away. "Beatrice, you must go." His plea bore the weight of 1,000 unspoken fears, flickering in the depths of his eyes even as he fought to project strength. "I'll find you, I promise." The ship lurched again, and a collective cry echoed through those waiting, fear clawing at our senses like a ravenous beast. In that moment, everything but us faded, our connection burning brightly amid the shadows of despair. "Go," I could hear the tremor in his voice, urging me to step boldly into the unknown, but each instinct in my heart screamed to stay, to hold him tight and navigate the storm together. With every beat of my pulse, despair and resolve clashed within me, a storm brewing in my soul. As I felt the cold grip of panic encroaching upon us, I turned back to the lifeboat, but hesitation rooted me to the spot. The roar of the ocean echoed deep within me, causing my heart to thunder. The cries of other passengers swirled around in a chaotic symphony, a cacophony of desperation. The lifeboat dangled like a ray of hope as it dipped on the rising waves. Finally, Tearing my gaze away from Henry, I understood what I had to do. The moment shattered around us, unyielding and fierce. "I love you!" I screamed through the chaos, the weight of our unspoken vows pressing down heavily as I stepped toward the lifeboat. Just then, the ground beneath my feet buckled, throwing me against the lifeboat as I clutched the edge. I barely noticed when crew members grasped my arms, hoisting me into the vessel like a flotsam, rising amid turbulent waters. The moment I landed in the lifeboat, I turned back, desperate to see Henry one last time. He stood there, framed by the sprawling nightmare of the deck as the ship leaned further into its frozen grave. Our eyes locked one final time, his gaze filled with immeasurable love and sorrow that broke something deep within me. I felt the locket against my heart pulse like a steady heartbeat, its lingering warmth wrapping around me like a bittersweet embrace. Then the lifeboat surged away, lowering into the churning sea, while the ship screamed a terrible farewell. The cries of the desperate faded as I turned away, feeling the overwhelming weight of loss wrapping itself around my chest like an iron chain. It was a cruel twist of fate, yet love held me steady when everything else spun wildly apart. I squeezed the locket in my palm, grounding myself against the storm of emotion that threatened to swallow me whole. As the icy air filled my lungs, I could hear echoes of my promise, a haunting refrain that clung to my soul. Shifting my eyes toward the night, I hoped against hope that Henry remained safe and that love would carry him through the storm. The distant glow of the lifeboats stood as a testament to the battles fought and dreams cherished, waiting amid the darkness for the dawn to break. Yet deep within my heart, a storm brewed. Parting felt like a rip in the very fabric of my being. Despair whispered against the fabric of my resolve. I reminded myself of our love, a flame flickering against the darkness, promising that even amid the worst tempest, we would carry one another. I would hold on, even as the tides of fate sought to separate us, clinging fiercely to the flicker of hope shimmering on the horizon amid the stars that now shone above the chaos, steadily illuminating the path I had yet to travel. As the lifeboat drifted farther away from the chaos, I felt the icy tendrils of despair curl around me, each heartbeat echoing Henry's name like a prayer into the void of night. The tumult had receded to a murmur, the distant roar of the ship's demise swallowed by the crashing waves. I gripped the edge of the boat, my knuckles white, the salt water spraying against my face, a harsh reminder of the world I had just left behind. Here, in the fragile sanctuary of the lifeboat, reality settled in heavy waves. Around me, faces gleamed with fear and uncertainty, eyes wide with the horror of survival and loss. Some individuals stared blankly at the water, lost in their thoughts, while others clung to one another, seeking solace amid the upheaval. I felt the weight of their grief, a heavy drape upon my shoulders, but my heart remained tethered to Henry, a thread that stretched impossibly thin across the ocean's chasm. I searched the darkness for him, desperate for a sign, a glimpse that might stretch the distance between us. "Please," I whispered into the befouled air, a silent invocation looming upon my trembling lips. My breath drew shallow. The locket pressed against me felt warmer, the heartbeat of our love intertwining with my own, as if reminding me that he was still with me, somehow, always would be. But as the waves surged and swelled under the starlit sky, my heart sank further into despair. Each swell of the boat felt like the rise and fall of my hopes, a cruel reminder that I had left him behind. Strangers whispered quietly to one another. Some offered prayers, others exchanged glances of shared terror. I felt as if I were adrift in a sea of somber reflection, surrounded by souls entwined in a tragic fate, united by love and loss, yet still adrift. Suddenly, a chill pierced through me as raw memories of laughter and warmth came flooding back, our shared dreams unfurling like sails in the wind. I could almost hear his voice, rich and soothing, filled with reassurance as he whispered to me about the future we had yet to embrace. "We'll meet again," he had said once, laughter coloring his words. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the memories washing over me like gentle waves upon the shore. Evenings spent under glowing lanterns, the cozy hold of his hand, promises exchanged beneath starlit skies. The echo of his laughter became the balm for my soul, and I clung to it as fiercely as the locket pressed to my chest. In that moment, I realized I was not alone. The souls around me shared their grief, their pains intertwined like wildflowers amidst a wilderness. We were a tapestry woven from fragments of lost lives and the shared promise of hope. Muffled sobs filled the air, and I felt a surge of connection ripple through me, filling the void left by Henry's absence. With each passing moment, I lost track of time. The darkness wore on, yet somewhere in the murk, hope flickered still. The lifeboat bobbed upon the surface of the unforgiving sea, drifting toward the shadows of dawn. I lifted my head slowly and gazed out at the horizon, where the faint light began to creep into the inky sky, painting the world anew with hues of gold and soft lavender. As the first rays of sunlight shimmered upon the waves, illumination cut through the darkness that had seemed unending. I could see the glimmer of another lifeboat in the distance, hope unfolding where despair had once dwelled. The world expanded before me, vast and uncertain, but within me the warmth of Henry's love enveloped me, lighting the path ahead. I inhaled deeply, summoning my courage as I looked around at the others, a quiet resolution dancing in my heart. "We will survive," I whispered, not just to myself, but to the souls intertwined in this desperate journey. And as dawn kissed the day awake, I held on to the belief that love would guide our way. No matter the depth of separation, I knew we could find our way back to each other. Just as the sun breaks through the darkest nights, we would rise, would endure. With strength swirling within me like the waves beneath the boat, I dared to hope, for I carried within me the promise of our love, sustained by resilience and an enduring spirit. As the horizon brightened, I silently vowed to keep our flame alive, to search until my last breath if necessary. Fate might pull us apart, but love could still weave the most intricate of paths, and someday we would reunite.